So the question I have for you is, have you had your fill of winter yet? It's not going to end just yet, as we have some isolated areas across the Great Lakes region that will see some snow, and one particular place that's going to see a lot of snow. In this video, I'm going to talk about who is going to see snow prior to this upcoming January thaw that we have coming next week. 6 p.m. on the dot, and it is January 17th. Welcome to another update from Great Lakes Weather. Hope everybody is doing well today. And wow, has this past week been brutally cold. Some of the worst cold we've seen in the past 5 years, particularly across Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. We have seen some wind chills in the -20s, some places even getting to -30 in some places. Lots of school closings that have happened over the past several days. I think that cold is going to end for maybe a couple days. We will still be cold, but not nearly as cold. There will be one final push of Arctic air come Friday afternoon after a low pressure system makes its way before we finally start to see that January thaw. So we're going to dive right into all of the details with that. And what you see right here, again, I know it's kind of skewed because it's on the left side of the screen here, but this is the probability of these areas seeing greater than 1 inch of snow up through 1 p.m. on Friday. And you can see that the chances for snow across this region are it shows very high probabilities for a lot of different places. So again, Indiana, Ohio, the places that really didn't see much snow from that prior winter storm that we had at the beginning of the week are now going to see a little bit of snow that will stick to the ground. That includes Indiana, Ohio, southern Michigan, and you will notice that there are some focused areas of very high probabilities. These places that you see in the dark red, these are going to be places that will be our battleground for some pretty heavy snow over the weekend. Some places could see a foot or more, particularly along the northwestern Indiana region. So this place is going to have some pretty decent travel impacts. The I-94 corridor, place that we have frequently talked about as a dangerous travel place during snowy conditions, is going to be very much impacted across northwest Indiana. And we're focused that into Saturday. You see that it really shows up at a high probability by that point. Probability of greater than 6 inches of snow. Again, you see that there's a chance over Cleveland area, but there's also a very heavy focus of greater than 6 inches of snow potential over northwestern Indiana places, including Gary, Michigan City in particular. Those places are definitely going to want to be ready for some heavy snow. We're going to look at that with the weather models that we have for you this day. So this is the 1 p.m. model run of the HRRR, High Resolution Rapid Refresh model. We're going to look at these two different systems, the impacts that they could potentially have to certain portions of the Great Lakes region. So again, the expectation is that overnight there is going to be a band of light snow associated with a weaker system making its way into the Great Lakes region. And you can see that there might be a little bit of snow development along the Michigan-Indiana border. This is not going to be too impactful. I really don't think there's going to be too much in terms of closings or travel impacts with this event. But you do see that that band of snow does focus itself across areas from the Detroit metro out towards places such as Gary, Indiana, and areas slightly to the south. So those places could see a quick 1 to 3 inches of snow. Again, we could take a look at the snow accumulations real quick as that passes through. Let's freeze frame it at around 3 p.m. on Thursday, which is at hour 27. We're going to take a look at that real quick, and we will look at the potential for the snow accumulations with that setup. You can see that the band is going to be very narrow, and again, it could vary a few miles north or south depending on the changes that the models take note of later on. But you can see that the snow accumulations will be focused around 1 to 3 inches, not really seeing much more than that on this model. You can see that the band of impact is going to be pretty narrow with this setup. So again, a little bit of snow. You can see that places such as the Upper Peninsula will see still some heavy snow potential. You guys have been getting battered with a lot of snow. Lake effect snow has pretty much been battering western Michigan as well. There's been a lot of snow accumulation out there. You will probably get a little bit of snow from this upcoming Friday system too. So this is a system for overnight tonight. Again, not really going to be too impactful. Again, though, there could be some delays or things like that given the fact that there's still ice in the roads. That snow and ice combo could cause some travel hiccups. So just keep that in mind. And the temperatures, thankfully, will begin to warm up just a little bit come tomorrow into the 20s. So that'll allow for the salt on the roads to work in some of the different places because, again, past few days have been extremely cold, coldest air we've had in the past 5 years. Pretty impactful situation that we have been dealing with across the region with that Arctic air mass that will begin to make its way out of the area with the movement of these systems. So again, you have that low that's going to be making its way through. Let's go back to the time that we're focused on. You see this low pressure system down here to the south. This is actually what is going to bring the potential for snow also across parts of southern Indiana, southern Ohio. So let's take a look at that real quick as it progresses. Notice here, one place that is going to be watchful for some heavier snow with this system is going to be southeastern Ohio. Some places could see 4 to 8 inches as that system moves through. Again, the center of the low is going to be much closer to that region. But you can see widespread snow kind of lifts off on the north and western side of the system, typical of a mid-latitude cyclone. This is going to be a weaker one, not really going to have as much energy with it. But as it progresses forward, you can see that a lot of the Great Lakes region is going to get widespread snow. With the passage of that, we are going to see the arrival of another north wind associated with that polar air that is still settled over our region. That is going to welcome back colder air once again, and temperatures Friday night could be in the sub-zero as an air temp, and then the wind chills could be much colder, even into the negative 20s. Some places that did not see negative 20 wind chills will likely see negative 20 wind chills Friday night, and we'll take a look at a map that kind of outlines that. But you can see with that northern wind that we're going to be catching on to, we will have this focused area of heavy snow across Berrien County and this region, which in fact there is a winter storm watch out for those areas at this current moment. As that low pressure moves to the northeast, that lake effect snow will build in, and I would not be surprised if there was a little bit of thunder snow with this as well. There is going to be a little bit of instability out in the atmosphere with this, so it is going to be some pretty saturated air that's going to be coming from the lakeshore as well with that lake effect movement, and that's going to dump some pretty heavy snow, possibly some places seeing more than 6 inches, maybe more than a foot in some spots. We don't have enough on the HRRR to get an accurate snow total with this, but we are going to progress forward with the latest run from the GFS to kind of give you an idea of what is also coming here in the future. So you see that first system that moves through Thursday, or this overnight into Thursday. Okay, that's going to move out, and then that low pressure system, which has been pretty consistent on the models, moves southeast of the region and gives snow to Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. Meanwhile, lake effect snow does continue across the Upper Peninsula during that time, and then you can see that Arctic air. You can see where those hot upper level isobars are at 498, 504. That's associated with some pretty cold air, a pretty deep trough that's going to be making its way over the region still, bringing that polar air into the Great Lakes region and a little bit areas to the south. As that moves through, you still see that lake effect snow progressing on Saturday, and then it begins to kind of dissipate as that high pressure lifts into the area. And then what you notice as we get into the long range, now pay attention to this system. This is going to be our next system to watch at the beginning of the week, or Tuesday of next week. Temperatures are looking a little warmer than we have had in the past week, and I think this is probably going to be mainly a rain event for a lot of the places that you are seeing in the Great Lakes region, especially as it lifts to the north. Some places in northern Michigan probably are going to see the more of the snow, but places that have been dealing with the cold for a long time will likely see warmer temperatures and rain. I'm telling you, 40 degrees is probably going to feel like 60 degrees after the past week that we have had. But again, we're watching the long-range models for the potential for some continuing rainfall on the back side, but it does look like we will see a nice round of warmer air as we go through the next week. I'm watching the end of January, though, for some possibility of some colder air settling into the Great Lakes region once again. That's going to be something just to pay attention to. It is in the long range right now, so we don't want to get into too much of certainty with that potential setup. So that's the next thing to watch out for in the long range. But I do want to take a look at the snow accumulations based on the Euro model, as a matter of fact. So we are going to actually zoom in to the Great Lakes region and get an idea of the potential accumulations of lake effect snow with this upcoming lake effect snow event. There is a chance I go out and chase this if it's still ongoing on Saturday. We'll have to see how things pan out. But again, you can see lots of heavy snow accumulation potential as we get into Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Places across northwestern Indiana, 17 inches of snow. Places in Berrien County, 8 inches of snow. Warren Dunes is going to see a lot of snow. There's going to be some pretty decent accumulations in this focused area, as well as Cleveland. You can see Cleveland's going to have 5 to 8 inches of snow as well, as those northwestern winds make their way through portions of the Great Lakes region. And again, following this, we will have a warm-up on the way, but we first must combat the polar air. This is as of 1 p.m. today, so we're going to progress it forward to around Thursday morning. You can see wind chills are actually going to be a little warmer. They're going to be in the positive teens. Okay, so those places that have been seeing school closings for an extended period of time, probably not going to see them tomorrow. Sad day for those people. But sub-zero temperatures in the Upper Peninsula. Still continuing. Again, keep in mind these are the wind chills. These are not the actual air temperatures that are being depicted by the models here. So it's not showing the real air temperatures. But as we get into Friday night, you notice that polar air makes a resurgence back down into the Great Lakes region. Places go back down into the sub-zero range. And by the time we get to Saturday morning, there's going to be some places that are seeing very cold temperatures. Again, places that we're not commonly seeing wind chills in the negative 20s. We'll see that as we get into the into the morning on Saturday. You can see the places along the lakeshore are pretty warm, but places inland will see sub-zero wind chills, and this is pretty much widespread across Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin too. Going to see that very cold wind chills associated with the movement of this air. As we get into the longer range, though, you can see the real field temperatures really start to rise up as we get into Thursday. You can see temperatures above freezing for the wind chills start to show up. There's probably going to be quite a bit of snow melt as we get into next week and near the end of the week next week, so that January thaw is on its way. But we are also watching the potential for the resurgence of some cooler air later on into the end of January, early February. So all that's on the table to watch out for. Climate Prediction Center is kind of picking up on this. You can see the Great Lakes region pretty much has a guaranteed chance of above average temperatures between the 23rd and the 27th, which again comes next week. And Indiana and Ohio are included in that as well. So warmer temperatures are coming. Finally, a break from this Arctic cold we've been having, and continuing to provide updates as this continues to evolve over the next couple months. We're still not done with winter. I think winter will probably make a return at some point, but it is coming soon. That spring season will return, and we'll be back out chasing possibly some tornadoes and things like that as we get into spring season. So make sure to subscribe and stay updated. I appreciate your support, and for all of you that have been watching, and we will continue to provide updates as necessary. So thanks for watching. See you all later.